I just finished season 3 of The Boys. If you have not watched it, it is a perfect time to do so, especially if you're into superhero content, if you like the blood and gore and graphical details and scenery, if you like the idea of a off-brand DC character turned bad or selfish or just straight up psychotic, this show is for you. There is no DC or Marvel TV show that can even compete with The Boys for me. The Boys is just on a whole other level of production and storytelling and character development, and it is by far one of the best series I've ever seen in my life. And all 3 seasons are filled with pure entertainment. Entertainment at its finest, at its peak quality. That is what The Boys offers. A huge respect I gotta give to The Boys is they simply do things that other TV shows or movies, production companies just won't do. They continuously push the boundaries, and they're always doing the craziest thing, and just as we think that they won't get any crazier than they already have, they somehow find a way to just flat out up the ante. For those who have watched The Boys and are caught up on everything, we all know what I'm talking about. Episode 6, Herogasm, and I know a lot of people talk about how, like, well, it wasn't as crazy as they were hyping it up to be. It does not matter. That episode was crazy. What we were given in that episode will not be seen on any other TV show. Not even Game of Thrones had it that bad. The utmost respect needs to go to this team of writers, directors, producers for being able to do stuff the way they do it without having it take away from the show. They're not putting those types of scenes in the show to simply just be like, oh yeah, this would be funny, or, you know, what would the audience's reaction be if we just randomly threw in a Herogasm episode? No, like, it pretty much served a purpose within the episode, and there was a reason they did it. Everything in between were just little details they decided to sprinkle in that they thought would be funny. The show is so good at taking itself seriously, but not taking itself seriously at all at the same time. And I think the mixture of those polar opposites is what makes The Boys such a grand spectacle in a superhero genre that we've never gotten before. I cannot describe and explain enough how The Boys is nowhere near an ordinary superhero show, and that's what makes it the best superhero show in a world where 70 to 85% of our content is dominated by the superhero market. And of course, when you watch Marvel or you watch DC, you won't be able to watch what you watch in The Boys in a Marvel or DC show. They would never in their life think to do something like that. I mean, you would never even be able to scratch the surface of what The Boys does in a Marvel show. And whereas with DC you could get away with some things, you still can't even get to the point of where The Boys is at, because DC still realizes that one of their core audiences is still technically children. So The Boys is just doing something that is so fresh and it's so satisfying because of how different and fun it is. I want to talk about Homelander here for a little bit. With how strong and terrifying this character is, they sure do a great job at still giving a story behind this character. It's insane when you look at the model of what a Homelander personality is technically supposed to be. He's just this evil, psychotic man who can literally do no good. He's just a walking monstrosity. And yet they still find a way to give him a human aspect. In moments of Homelander's story where you think there's no going back and there is no saving him, which technically there isn't, there's nothing you can do to right the wrongs of Homelander. The show, its writers, its creators, they still find a way to write dialogue, write scenes, and write a narrative for Homelander that still makes you feel like, yeah, he's effed up. He's got a whole brain of screw looses. But you can't blame everything on Homelander because of Homelander. A lot of it has to fall on Vought and the executives that lead that company. Homelander is a product of Vought, and the reason he is who he is because of Vought. Now, of course, in his adult age, he needs to be held accountable for all the evil he does, and Homelander does need to be put down like a sick dog. But it's still very interesting how they subtly find ways to give Homelander a heart. He's easily one of the best written characters in cinema, film, TV today, let alone in the season finale where he goes to find his son and he has a heart-to-heart with his son. Just the affection and the love he actually has for his kid, even though it might be clouded by a vast layer of irony and deceit and hatred, but he still loves his son, and they showcase that quite a bit in that last episode, especially because Homelander's narrative in season 3 is all about not having love, the fear of not being loved, and not just by the people around him, but the world. That is his sole purpose. Homelander is a worldwide icon, a worldwide idol, and he is fearful that he's not earning or deserving of the love that he thinks he should. So to now bring his son into the picture where he can love his son and have his son love him back is something that he has been desiring for quite some time. And you've seen this love factor within Homelander since season 1. And overall, it was just written so well, and I can't wait to see what does happen in season 4 with his whole relationship with his son and the battle for the hearts of the people and the people around him, because he now sees clearly at the end of the episode that the world simply just loves him for who he is. But the end of that episode also shows that the world is no better than Homelander, a man who willingly sawed off half the head of a protester in front of hundreds of innocent people, even though they themselves were protesting for the wrong cause. Whereas this show couldn't get any crazier, it continues to prove me wrong when season 3 ends the way it did. And once again, it's really interesting about Homelander how they've chosen to write him, because this is a man who's so evil and so vile that he could fly around the entire world and saw off everybody's head with his heat ray, or crush their head with his super strength, or punch them up into space. Whatever he wants to do, he could do. But the whole point of why he wouldn't is because that would leave nobody on Earth to eventually love him, which is what he's so deprived of. So then the idea becomes is if he's not going to do something like that, you still have the chance to defeat this man. And how are you going to defeat him? Well, the answer was obviously Soldier Boy, until a lot got screwed up in that final episode where you end up just finding out that Soldier Boy is just as power hungry and somewhat crazed as Homelander is, just for his own separate reasons. Now, that beautiful scene where Soldier Boy and Homelander share a heart-to-heart, with Homelander's son Ryan overwatching the entire conversation, along with Butcher and Maeve, I feel like that scene is a certain foreshadow for the future, where we are going to get a massive fight between Soldier Boy, Homelander, and Ryan. Say, for example, if the show did decide to end in a season 4 or a season 5 whenever it's going to come. I feel like that fight is also going to be what ends the lives of Homelander, of Soldier Boy, and possibly even Ryan, but I'm not too sure about that yet. Soldier Boy obviously needs to come back into the picture, and I'm sure we're going to need to get another one of Butcher's secretive hidden plans where he wants to get Soldier Boy out of prison so they can use him to fight against Homelander. Or maybe even this time it's actually going to be Agent Mallory, as it is seen at the end of the episode that she is putting Soldier Boy back into his containment cell, which she would of course also have this fear of Homelander after he took Ryan, which would then mean she would potentially try to use the power of Soldier Boy to take down Homelander once and for all. Now, as much as I could sit here and talk about how much I love the Homelander character, Soldier Boy, and the future of Homelander and his son, everything else about the show really excites me, because now I think to myself, what's the future of the boys group? Where are they gonna go from here? Now you have two supers a part of the boys, Starlight and Kamiko. It's not just a full human group trying to take down these Goliaths that have superpowers. You now have two Goliaths who happen to be on your team, one of them being Starlight, who was part of the Seven. How is Butcher going to deal with his terminal illness? And there's still a big piece of me that thinks one of them is going to come to the conclusion where they have to take permanent V. Whether it be Huey or be Butcher, or maybe a left field decision like T.M.M, I think someone's going to end up taking permanent V and have permanent superpowers. It is shown in the last episode that Huey has one vial left of Temp V. I'm not sure who's going to use it, if anyone is going to use it at all, but I wonder if it is a subtle hint to Huey potentially getting permanent abilities, or maybe that's how they're going to have to cure Butcher, where they are going to literally need to give him permanent V so that he doesn't die from his illness. What is the outcome of Victoria Newman becoming vice president? How are they going to try and stop that from happening? And where is her relationship going to go with Homelander moving forward? You have Homelander, the strongest person on the entire planet, but then you have Victoria Newman, someone who's very influential in the FBI and the government in general. Things could go terribly wrong very, very fast. With certain characters' stories wrapped up as well, such as Maeve, since she doesn't have her abilities anymore due to Soldier Boy, at least we don't think she will as of now. And still, you never know, maybe her story isn't fully done, although they somewhat wrap it up nicely for the end of season 3. Maybe she'll come along later down the line in like a season 5 if the show continues that long. But with Maeve's story somewhat coming to an end and Black Noir unfortunately getting killed, which, by the way, Noir was done dirty after we saw everything that guy had to go through, all the aggression and abuse from Soldier Boy, just to see him get his stomach blasted open with a fist from Homelander. You do kind of wish that Black Noir got at least one thing that went his way. Even if you had to kill the guy, it kind of feels like it would have been nice to at least get something that went right for him. But there are 3 other main characters in this show that I feel still need to get their due. Number 1, The Deep. Number 2, A-Train, and number 3, T.M.M. And when I say that these characters deserve to receive their due, or that they deserve to have a major outcome in their narrative and their storyline, I don't necessarily mean something grand or great for the character. For example, The Deep. I think something needs to happen for The Deep moving forward where he finally cracks, and that could potentially just end up leading to his death, or it could finally make him realize, whoa, I gotta stop being this lapdog for Homelander, and I gotta stand up for myself and do something. We still haven't seen how powerful The Deep can be if he can really be an Aquaman type level of power, because if he actually can be that powerful, Homelander better watch out. Or because of how jaded and selfish and spineless the Deep is, maybe his character deserves to come to an end. Then you have A-Train, a guy who hasn't been able to use his powers for the whole season because of a dying heart. Well, now that's not the case since he got a heart transplant. What is the plan for A-Train? I feel like he is another one who is secretly and more quieter than the Deep, under the thrall of Homelander. How does A-Train get out? Because think about it, the 7 ain't the 7 anymore. It's now the 3. It's just Homelander, the Deep, and A-Train. Maybe even the 4, because if he wants to bring his son into the fold, maybe make him a member. I don't know how that's gonna happen, but Homelander does whatever he wants. You can tell A-Train became a lot more human in this season, and you can see a lot of the suffering he has gone through, not just in his family life, but through his relationship with Homelander and Vought. I feel like A-Train has to be the next person to join the boys, or at least help the boys in some way. I can't see A-Train sticking by the side of Homelander much longer and just willingly going along with his sadistic plans, especially with the way he treats him, the fact that he almost sawed his face off in episode 1. And then the final character I want to talk about is M.M. This is a guy whose emotional life has also been diminished by superpower people, very particularly Soldier Boy. Now, there's this interesting idea that Soldier Boy is the root cause of the death of a lot of people in his family, including his father. Soldier Boy, yes, where he may not be the best person on the planet, I have this feeling that Soldier Boy is not as vilely evil as they wanted to make him seem in this season. I feel like the death of MM's family is not the root cause of Soldier Boy, even if it was just a pure accident. MM is so hell-bent on killing Soldier Boy that it would be a very interesting scene to see him have this realization that, oh my god, I've been carrying around hatred for a man who either one, didn't actually kill my family, or did not intentionally kill my family, and how he would deal with that moving forward is what would be interesting. When it comes to badass scenes and being able to stand up for himself and actually make a difference, I feel like MM's character has really taken a step back in this season, and I'm really hoping in season 4 something grand for him happens the way it happened for Butcher, taking Temp V and becoming just as powerful as Homelander. This show is so phenomenal. I can't state that enough. I feel like calling this show phenomenal is actually an understatement to how good this show is, how great, grand, just a pure masterpiece. That's why I'm going to be giving season 3 of The Boys a 10 out of 10. In fact, the show is a 10 out of 10 so far. Every character in the show is intriguing, and that speaks volumes, especially when you have a character like Black Noir who doesn't speak. He literally doesn't say a word and just draws big block letters on paper and it says 3 words. Even his character is intriguing, and that is so phenomenal on the writing standpoint. The fact that you can make every single character in the show interesting, even if they have a little amount of screen time. The action is very well done, and it's worth it when it actually comes because the show builds up to it, and when they do, it's well earned. The Homelander versus Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey fight is on another level. Probably the best fight scene we've ever gotten in The Boys. And I'm only assuming season 4 is going to get better from here. They saw that they could hit the mark with those types of fight scenes in season 3, so now they think to themselves, we're going to hit the mark again in season 4. The show pushes all the boundaries that you thought a TV show or movie would not be able to have on a streaming service or a TV channel, and it ramps it up by 100, and they just keep going. I also love how they absolutely rip apart and make fun of celebrities and trends and commercials and ridiculous political standpoints and statements. I love how they are capable of taking things that happen in the real world and they put it in their TV show just to show their audience how silly or outright stupid some of our society is today. I will just end this love letter for the boys by saying this: if you can handle blood and gore and very aggressive scenery, just watch The Boys. You will come to understand why I gave this show a 10 out of 10 and why I love it so dearly and why I think it's not just one of the best superhero content out there right now. It's just one of the best pieces of content entertainment we've ever received. But anyways, everyone, that is all I have for you on this one. Make sure to let me know down in the comments below what you thought of season 3 of The Boys and what you think of The Boys in general. And if you are a newcomer to this channel or if you haven't watched The Boys, make sure to let me know when you do start and what you think of it so far. But that is it for this one, and until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.